everybody? Welcome to another episode of Game Time here on the Outlaw Nation channel. I got these two gentlemen joining me here today. Talk about all the weekend's NFL playoffs action. Maybe talk a little BCS preview, and then also maybe get into a little PGA stuff near the tail end of the show. But I'm one of your hosts here. I am the Outlaw John Rocha. Our middleman is gone for right now, but he'll be here in just a little bit. But joining us on the left always, but in the middle of our hearts for sure. Winston A. Marshall, how are you, bud?
I'm good. I just had a bacon wrap filet and Brussels sprouts for lunch. Shout out Aldi's. And now I'm fucking feeling good. I'm feeling energized. I got a run in. I turned in my at-home COVID test. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm having a good Monday, and Mondays are a motherfucker.
I know Mondays can be a motherfucker, and we got so much already. Our first troll run up in here, John Rocha. That's right. Oh my God! Why don't you put your profile picture up there, you coward? Anyway, we're gonna get into a lot of things today. The NFL playoffs, a lot of shit happened. The Browns upset the Steelers. The Seahawks lost to the Rams. My Washington football team almost beat Tom Brady. There's so much we're getting into. And of course, when Jay Washington joins us, we'll get into the Bears Saints game as well. But Winston, this was such an unusual weekend of football. We had 2 days of triple header playoffs football. I don't think that's ever happened in the history of the NFL. So exciting times for sure. I literally spent the whole weekend sitting on my couch watching these games, having a good time. How about you?
I got to watch a handful of them. I think the only one that I really watched primarily from like end of first quarter to finish was the Seahawks and the Rams.
Yeah.
Just because like I got hardcore into Cobra Kai, and I finished that this weekend. I don't. You know how a lot of people get where you're like, if your team's not in, how much do you care? If this spam list don't stop fucking calling me,
ooh. Spam, you love spam, but
fuck somebody up. So it's like it's partially that. But the big thing that I had to tune in for is I needed to see some of this Nickelodeon stuff, which it was hard for me because I don't have cable. So I got to essentially watch people's playbacks on stuff.
Oof.
Bam. The fact that like the F word was dropped in the middle of it. Oh my God. Like there was like the ejection happened. Apparently the funniest thing was one of the commentators was like, well, something else is happening on the field. So let's talk about our future shows coming on Nickelodeon. Like it was an absolute treat. And real talk.
Yeah.
If all football games are not done now with Nickelodeon Vision or whatever they want to call it. Yeah. I don't know if I can watch football anymore. From what I've seen, that was fucking phenomenal.
They were sliming people. You had what's his face for the Bears, had big googly eyes, Cordell Patterson. It was really weird to see that kind of approach to it. I mean, I'm of two minds. I enjoyed it, but by the same token, the NFL is doing this so they can start appealing to younger people again because football playing amongst the younger crowds has started to go down amongst kids that are young because CTE stuff, parents worried about the lasting damage to their bodies. A lot of it started to come down. So this is, it was cute. It was fun, but I also think the NFL was trying to make it cool and fun for kids to be back into it so they can urge their parents to play like pee-wee football or whatever.
1,000%. That was a means to try and get a newer fan base involved in football.
Yeah,
that's what, because the truth is that it's not just they're not playing, they're not, younger generations aren't watching. They're watching basketball, they're watching soccer, they're finding they're watching esports, they're finding other things to occupy their time.
Absolutely.
So this was definitely a push by the NFL to expand their fan base. And real talk, you may have just made a bunch of adults happy with that shit. That was, That was I didn't know I needed touchdown slimes in my life, bro. Like, fuck.
And apparently Gary Payton got actually slimed. Coach Gary Payton for the Saints got actually slimed after the game. Oh, Sean Payton. Sorry. I was thinking Gary Payton from the Seattle Supersonics. Yeah. Sean Payton got totally slimed for real afterwards, which was
amazing.
Seeing him put the mask on and plug his nose and then get totally slimed Sean Payton. People forgot.
That's so good.
Well, all right. Well, let's get into and ladies and gentlemen, please send in your StreamLabs and super chats. You know, I pay these gentlemen off what you're able to send in. So please send in your StreamLabs is what we prefer. Super chats you can definitely do, but YouTube takes 30% of those. So we'd appreciate if you do the StreamLabs. If you're wondering how to send in the StreamLabs, right above both our heads in the middle, right there is the StreamLabs address, or you can go to the description of this video and send in some StreamLabs there to help us out. All right, let's get into the first game here. Winston, we got to get into the Browns upsetting the Steelers last night. That was pretty incredible. I don't think anybody outside of the Browns organization saw that this was going to happen last night. They were without their coach, Kevin Stefanski, their Pro Bowl guard, Joel Bitonio, their top cornerback, Denzel Ward. All were back in Cleveland because they tested positive for COVID-19. Apparently, the NFL said that Stefanski could not coach from like Zoom or from his house or anything like that or through text. But I have a sneaking suspicion that maybe there were some texts sent in exchange, because this Cleveland team came out and absolutely mollywopped the Steelers in the first half. Mayfield threw for 263 yards and 3 touchdowns overall. He even got one to Nick Chubb, who turned a screen pass into a 40-yard touchdown. Kareem Hunt had a 48 yards receiving and had 2 touchdowns himself. And Cleveland forced 5 turnovers to beat these Steelers. And it was the first postseason triumph since 1995 when these Browns, led by Bill Belichick, beat the New England Patriots that were led by Bill Parcells at the time. So what was your reaction as you were watching this all happen, or as you heard about all this happening? Were you blown away by the fact that the Browns pretty much handled the Steelers here?
No, watch the tape from last week. I called it. Y'all both said the Steelers, and I said, nah. The way things are going right now, the Steelers were a fraudulent team all year.
Wow.
I said that in the sense that, like, the Steelers, yes, their record says that they won those games, and they did. Yeah. But how many of those games did they win against teams way too fucking close? For me, the real true test was how the Cowboys were this fucking close with a third-string quarterback.
True.
Beating them. That alone should have been the key that something is wrong in Pittsburgh. Mm-hmm. And so when you put that up with the fact that the Browns have done something magical this season and whatnot, if you go look at the tape, y'all both took the Steelers, I took the Browns. I said I was a little like, but at the time it wasn't the coach. It was like the receiving core was having a COVID issue again.
Yeah.
But I still was like, the Browns got this one, because I think that they're a more dangerous team. Now, do I believe that the Browns can go the distance?
Yeah.
After a game like that in the playoffs with no coach, you're making a little bit of a believer out of me, but I still think that the Chiefs have that. The Bills, the way they played, have that. You know what I'm saying? There's a number of other teams in the AFC that I still have stronger faith in, but now you have to put respect on the Browns' name. Yeah. Like, just period. And I think the bigger story here is honestly that the Steelers are in a lot of fucking trouble. That they're actually in more rebuild mode than they realize. That Big Ben is no longer Big Ben. He is a liability. That they are not actually that good of a team. Did you lose me or did I lose you?
No, I got you.
Okay. That the Steelers, again, were just very, very, very fraudulent. And it's funny, you're looking at the records are inverse for how good these teams are.
Yeah.
So out of the AFC North, it was the Steelers, Ravens, and then Browns, right? Or did I get that backwards? It was the Browns.
It was
and the Ravens.
Steelers, Browns, Ravens. Yeah. Steelers, Ravens, Browns. Sorry, Steelers. Yeah.
If it was Steelers, Ravens, Browns, because the Browns lost to the Ravens at the end of the season, right?
Right.
So that being said, it's the complete flip. In my opinion, it's the Browns are the best of those teams. The Ravens had something to prove themselves because Lamar played really well the previous season, but got bounced hella hard out the motherfucking playoffs. Yeah. So now it's the Browns, Ravens, Steelers as far as what we just saw this past weekend. Yeah. So I give the Browns a better shot of ending higher than the Ravens. But again, I think the big thing that we have to see, let's see if the Browns continue to ride this momentum. They're still a young team in the playoffs. I have so much more faith in them than I did going into this, but they're still young. I'm just curious what happens now that you've got because the other thing that's a big deal when you're playing a division rival, you know them better.
Yeah.
So they knew how to specifically attack the Steelers. I want to see what they do against some of these AFC teams that they only have played once this year or not at all. If they can still hold it down. You know what I mean?
Hi, guys.
Right. Hey, Jay. Welcome, Jay Washington, to the show here. Jay, all right, so Winston just finished giving his thoughts.
Did you see what Joseph Ashley just said? Why Winston look like a doctor from Wakanda? Because I'm in my
They're out a way to inject vibranium directly into the bloodstream.
We have cured COVID 3 years ago here in Wakanda.
You mean are just not getting advanced the technology for that? You thought it had been a thing and gone. We are onto some new shit.
While y'all were watching a biography about Wakanda 3 years ago, we were curing COVID. I do not know what's wrong with you.
I'm going to do my no, I'm not going to do my imitation. All right, Jay, you watched Cleveland. I mean, there's no better way to start.
I heard y'all talking.
Yeah, but there's no better way to start a playoffs for yourself as a young team than to have a team self-implode in the first half of a game. And you saw the Steelers essentially self-imploding. The Browns were just hungrier, man.
Yeah, but here's the problem with that. Granted, yes, and yet at the end result, the Browns advanced, the Steelers lost.
Yeah.
But the Steelers started looking like they were going to come back in the second half.
In the second half, they did. Yeah.
It took until like the last quarter for them to finally start scoring again. The Browns, the Browns.
Yeah.
Look,
that third quarter was dangerous. You're absolutely right.
That third quarter was dangerous.
Right.
And so I agree with what Winston was saying earlier. Yeah, it proved what everybody been saying about the Steelers. They were suspect. Again, all their win, but we kept saying this week in and week out was like every time they had a win, it was like, well, look how they barely won.
Bro, I wanted to wait till you got back for this. Essentially, what the Steelers were, where they were like a version of the Chicago Bears with 22-inch spinning rims on them motherfuckers. They had a little, but think about it. I'm
not thinking about shit.
No, but it's the same thing that you said after when y'all went 5-1, and I was like, come on, this is the worst 5-1 I've ever seen.
Oh, yeah.
And you were like, fuck, man, fuck. And then y'all went on that fucking 7-game slide.
5-game slide.
It was 6.
Six.
It was a 6-game slide. You know what I'm saying? Where you were like, we've been saying this for a while. The Steelers just never went on that slide. They found a way. They almost look like the person that always ends up like the anvil falls right behind them, like just as they walk by and they just barely missed it and shit. Like when the Wile E. Coyote was always trying to get the Roadrunner actually didn't have to do anything. He just barely made it past the trap. That's what the Steelers look like. The difference is, though, they didn't have Looney Tune magic on their side, bro. Like, eventually it was
every Acme reference he can figure out. This right
all that.
Well, because see, the thing is, again,
yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
But again, it beckons the question: if the Steelers did this with no head coach and play caller,
you mean the Browns?
The guy who stepped in as their interim?
You mean the Browns?
Huh?
You mean the Browns? You said the Steelers.
I meant the Browns. Yes, excuse me, the Browns. That's what I meant. If the Browns did this with no head coach and their number one play caller, with him being back, and again, it's Kansas City though, so I'm not expecting. Yeah, again, there's motivation. There's this pump up. There's this feeling. There's this momentum that's going. But again, we talking about the world champs, and yes, there have been points where the Chiefs have proven to be fallible. But at the same time, we said all season the Chiefs played with this. We don't need to show out. We just need to get the number one seed. That's all we need to do. And they did that nonstop all season. They didn't show out yet. We're going to see Patrick Mahomes and them show up and show out against Cleveland.
Yeah. Is that the matchup?
Yeah, that's the matchup.
The matchup is Cleveland and Kansas City.
Yep.
Baltimore Ravens and the Bills.
In Buffalo.
And that's it on the AFC side.
Yep.
And then the NFC is the Saints and the Rams. Saints and the Buccaneers, and then the Rams and Green Bay.
Yeah.
Bro,
it's gonna be a fun weekend of football, for sure.
I just I can't wait till we get to the Rams game because I have so many thoughts.
The thing is, here, let me throw my 2 cents in on this. I thought Baker Mayfield did a really great job for his first playoff game. He looked calm in the pocket. He looked on point. Nick Chubb really helping to kind of solidify some things. Jarvis Landry being an absolute boss out there as a receiver as well. And then that defense, they came after Ben for all Ben's stuff about trying to bring his Hall of Fame quarterback, all of this. I mean, he threw for 500 and something yards last night, 47 completions, threw the ball like 68 times. It's nuts. And 4 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. That's a Brett Favre line. And I even tweeted that. I said, this is bad for the Steelers because now all of a sudden Big Ben looks like Favre at the end, which is the gunslinger who can no longer throw it into those pockets or is too cocky thinking he can still throw it into those pockets and getting it intercepted. And the Browns feasted on him. And so you go into the situation. The coach is coming back. All these players who had COVID are coming back for next week. And so now you start to ask yourself, well, Kansas City, this and that. But I don't know, a hungry team led by an offensive genius like Kevin Stefanski, there are possibilities here. It's not like the Kansas City defense was that strong all year. The Pittsburgh defense is ranked third all season. So they did this against the third-ranked defense.
But again, okay. There's a couple things to unpack there. I mean, the first is you knew that the wheels were coming off the wagon in this game. With 8 minutes into the game, it was 21-0.
Yep.
The first play from scrimmage.
Yep.
Fucking failed hike. Ball goes flying into the end zone. Browns jump on a touchdown. That's the first play from scrimmage.
That shakes up your mental.
Yep.
You can't like if you say second, third play, it's a pick six or something like that. You can shake that off. When you come out the gate like that, that's like, is this an omen of what's to come? Right. That's how you look at it. And yeah, I am talking a difference of 2 plays. You come the very first play from scrimmage.
Because you're setting a tone. That's what it is you set a tone. There's a reason why in like fighting, in any sort of sport, there is something to be said about first blood. That's why people even say it in the Schmodown. When someone drops a question, they go, "Ooh, first blood was drawn," because that literally is when the mental game starts.
You can get rattled in that first round, that's for sure.
That's all. It's
like the first quarter.
Yep. Oh my God! How many matches have we seen of the Schmodown? Just to for the comparison, because there's a lot of Schmodown fans that watch this show. That you watch someone drop that very first question, or you watch someone drop that first question in the first round, and they just never fully recover.
Yeah, I've seen those.
You know,
Kalinowski's matches. I get it. Yeah.
Oh my God.
When we do this situation here, when we're moving forward here, but like I and shout out to Corruption who won season 7. Congratulations. We're on to season
They don't want the smoke. They don't want the smoke.
It's 2021. Hope you enjoyed it. We're going into season 8. That was nice. We're going into season 8 now. But like this,
I just listen from the sides.
Now we can't walk away from this game without bringing up what Jay brought up earlier, and I think Winston did too. This idea that hey, this might be it for Ben. I mean, he sat on that sideline. He didn't get up and shake hands. He sat on the sideline with almost tears in his eyes, with his helmet still on, staring out onto the field.
Did you see my tweet? Did you see my tweet?
No, I didn't see it. What'd you say?
I said, Big Ben, go sit on that side of that bench until late after the groundskeeper be like, so I'm about to lock up. You need keys?
Dude, you ain't shit for that. Oh, my God.
Lock up. Like,
are you good? I mean, you need a ride? Somewhere.
The game was done, and he was still there. Helmet on, like.
Yeah. All I will say is this. All I will say is this about the future matchup between Kansas City and the Browns is that I know you did that with no head coach. You did that with no O-line. That's huge. Yeah. This is a completely different beast. The Steelers, as we've said all year, weren't shit all year. They were suspect.
Yeah, that's fair.
The Chiefs, with one exception, have played the same way they did. Like maybe not like what were they calling Mahomes? Not Mahomes magic, because that's Fitz magic.
Yeah,
they call Fitzgerald, but they were saying Mahomes was pulling all sorts of wizardry and shit. He maybe wasn't pulling like the same. Like if he was at an 11 last year, the motherfucker was still at a 9 this year. All right, like now you're dealing with a real offense that can put points on your ass. You know what I'm saying? Now you're dealing with like maybe the defense isn't as good, but when you have the balance of like a solid defense with a stellar fucking offense, you're in fucking trouble. So like this is a real team. If the Browns beat the Chiefs, I will tell you this. I'll make that prediction right then and there. I think the Browns win the Super Bowl.
This is true. I'll agree with that.
If the Browns beat the Chiefs,
if the Browns beat the Chiefs, I don't think there's another team that can stop them because then there's something in the water in Cleveland that they're just on a fucking mission.
Man, if you've been at Cleveland, there's a lot of shit in the water in Cleveland.
But
I don't know.
But that's the thing. I just don't. At best, I see them winning in a one-score game by like they kicked a field goal or some shit that happened to do it, or it's an overtime.
Okay.
The Browns ain't gonna mud stomp the fucking.
I'll do you one better. I'll do you one better.
Yeah.
This is how Kansas City loses that game. If they cannot find a way to stop both Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb, they cannot stop them because they were the ones that were really giving a 1-2 punch to the Steelers' asses. And if they can't stop them, it is a wrap.
It's a good point, Jay. And don't forget, Kareem Hunt, former Kansas City Chief. So if there's anyone who's going to know that playbook and know some of those plays, or at least most of those plays, Kareem Hunt is that guy. And so that's a possibility when you're looking at that defense, how to get them ready for this situation. And I also think, I think you make a great point. They're not facing an aged team that's on its way out with an aged quarterback. They're facing a team that is still in its prime in the Kansas City Chiefs, looking
the face of the league.
So the face of the league. So
the face of the league at this point. Like, let's be 1,000% honest. All them State Farm commercials, a former MVP, a Super Bowl champion / Super Bowl MVP. Like, he is the face of the fucking league. So, like, you better bring everything you have.
I'd argue that Mahomes
Aaron Rodgers still takes that personal because even though Patrick Mahomes started doing State Farm commercials, Aaron Rodgers was like, "You bitches ain't gonna forget about me."
Yeah, Mahomes, Rodgers, and Mayfield. Ironically, Mayfield, who just got his first playoff win, he's been in multiple commercials. It's
just doing progressive. That's true. That's true. They didn't even put this man with flow. They just said, "You do these commercials by your motherfucking self."
My girlfriend doesn't watch football.
They couldn't even give Jamie. Do you understand? They couldn't give Jamie for progressive. They was like, "No, you just gonna sit in these stands." That's what you
do your thing right here. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we got 220 y'all watching us right now, but only 71 likes. Give us some likes here. Hit that thumbs up button. Also, only a couple of StreamLabs and one Super Chat. Come on, ladies and gentlemen, send in some support for the show. You like us coming in every Monday, making you laugh, entertaining you for a couple hours on a Monday, which isn't always the best day of the week. So show us some support, show us some love there in the StreamLabs and the Super Chats. We'll walk away from this game real quick. Couple of StreamLabs here. Hitman Hudson. So rank these 8 NFL head coaching candidates: Eric Bieniemy, Marvin Lewis, Pat Fitzgerald, Todd Bowles, Brian Daboll, Robert Salah, Byron Leftwich, and Greg Roman. Hold on.
That's a lot.
For $1, you're only going to get us picking one coach that we think should be a head coach. Which of those 8 should be getting? What do you guys think?
I need to see it. I'm a visual person. Can you throw in the private chat real quick? Because that's a lot on my brain.
I think for me, it's Bieniemy hands down. I think he's the guy that I want to see do more in the league, and I want to see him get a shot here. Let me see.
Bieniemy stays number one on the prospects, and he will not get it, unfortunately. He's been number one for a while.
Yeah.
Bieniemy is the person everybody's like, why does he not have a head coaching job? Like, if him not having it, it speaks volumes.
Yeah. Don't tell Deshaun. Don't tell Deshaun Watson. He'll leave your team.
And only got one team he want to go to.
Yeah, that's right.
Because everybody keeps talking about someone. Well, the Bears should try to get him. He don't want to come to Chicago.
No, he doesn't. He knows what's happened there. I put the coaches there.
So I'll pick one. So which one of these people deserves a head coaching job?
Yeah. No, it just says rank them.
No. But
we're not going to rank them.
It's like not for $1.
I'll rank them for 20, but not for $1.
I'll need a second because the only ones that are immediately jumping out to me as far as like who I know, I would need to go look at resumes is Marvin Lewis and Todd Bowles. So I need to just look real fast, but then I can answer the question.
Todd Bowles being the defensive coordinator for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at this point.
Right.
Hitman Hudson also said, hey, also, I want Jay's thoughts on the rumors surrounding Pat Fitzgerald and the Bears. Jay, real quick.
What's the rumors?
I don't know.
Pat Fitzgerald might become the coach of the Bears.
Oh, again. Again, there are coaches we have seen that were just asked about that are coordinators and head coaches and potentials that should be there that could more than well do what needs to be done. But again, if you're not getting rid of Nagy, Pace, and Trubisky, I don't care. Yeah. I don't care because you're not curing the disease. You're treating the symptoms.
Yeah, Pat Fitzgerald, the coach of the Northwestern Wildcats. So it would be a college coach stepping into the situation.
Nope.
I don't want that. I don't think I want that.
I'm just looking at this real quick.
Okay.
I'm leaning towards Eric
Bieniemy.
Bieniemy.
Yeah. With
But
Bieniemy.
I don't necessarily hate Todd Bowles. I understand that he just had like a very rocky situation with the Jets, but the Jets are a dumpster fire. So true. I don't hold that against him. And look at what the Tampa Bay defense did this year. Mm-hmm. Like that's impressive for them to do that when they have been, relatively suspect from time to time on defense. And I feel like it was an upgrade this year. The Jets are just a fucking shit show.
Sorry, I know that Rocha does this every now and then. I just felt like we need to interject this. The acting Homeland Security Secretary is stepping down. Okay. Yeah.
Oh, we're in trouble now. Maybe he'll coach the Bears. I'm just letting y'all know this is an announcement you need to know because shit's finna get terrible in the next 9 days. That's true. It's crazy. Josh Mabry said, Ben said he's back if Pittsburgh would have him. Issue is if he's worth the $41 million cap hit, do they move on? That's true. Next year, he is owed $41.9 million, I think. And that is way too much. So, if I was Pittsburgh, I would say thank you, Ben. I appreciate it because the Lakers paid Kobe for 2 years longer than he should have been on that team. But that was out of respect and love for what he did, bringing them championships. So I get that. But this is a different situation.
It was a completely different beast. And you also they were good enough to get into the playoffs. So there's something to be said about you have some sort of foundation there. You just have a lot of things you need to fix. You give that kind of money to Kobe and ride out with Kobe till he retires because of what Kobe brought to the locker room and all that kind of stuff. And then he still goes out with a 60 fucking point game.
Well, that's because also everybody was like, "Go on, Kobe, go get it."
Go rewatch that game. They're putting the real.
So there's a couple of players who was like, "Fuck this last game."
No, exactly. They put real defense on them because you don't want to be the guy. First of all, you don't want to catch the irony of fucking Kobe talking about, I didn't really play defense against that nigga. I just was like, whatever. Like you did y'all lose me?
Was that Jamaican stuff? The Irie? Is that
just a little bit. I threw a little in there. You both just stopped and fixed headphones. I was like, yes, it was 60 points on 50 shots. It was still 60 fucking points. True. Right? I get the shot percentages down on that, but that's still 60 points. Yeah. So there's something to be said about that. So if Ben had thrown up 70 passes and they lost the game, but he went for 500 yards and 5 touchdowns, then you go, maybe we keep the motherfucker around. But the kind of performance he put in,
technically that defeats your argument because the only part you added to that is he had 4 interceptions, but beside that, he did put up 500 yards.
Yeah.
He did.
Okay. Throw the ball. But then again, they were playing prevent defense for that whole second half.
Well, but the only difference here, though, with that, Jay, and I understand what you're saying, is the fact that interceptions like that, especially, I know I saw one that was a pick six. If they are costing you full blown points, and not just points, but full a 7-point swing for your fuck up. You better throw for 500 fucking yards to make up for your goddamn mistake.
Well, let me ask the question then. What do you do if you're Pittsburgh? Because that's what I was just about to say. Because your next in line is Mason Rudolph. Yeah. But here's the issue overall with that, not only with your quarterback, you just have to rebuild this entire team. And I'm going to say it, and it may be Steelers fans who don't want to hear this. Tomlin's time may be up as well.
Yeah. He's he's only won 3 playoff games in the last 10 years. Yeah. So that's
he has 2 rings, but he's won them 1 Super Bowl.
Right. Well, look, Doug,
you got to make sure you say it that way. So if you're Pittsburgh, you have to accept the reality that, and I think that's a problem what a lot of teams do. They don't want to accept that you have to have a rebuilding phase at some point. Yeah. So they slowly try to keep putting pieces in. And some teams go ahead.
I was going to say, Jay, you can do it. Look at what Green Bay did. They were smart about this. They went and got a good-ass quarterback.
I'm saying you got to be smart about how you do it.
Right?
Again, you can't. They finally got a quarterback. When Brett Favre was getting ready to go downhill, they brought in Aaron Rodgers.
Right.
And Rodgers was learning, and then he started getting snaps, started becoming the Rodgers we would eventually know.
Right.
Now, Green Bay realizes the same thing again. He's not going to be Aaron Rodgers forever. Why do we get Jordan Love? Now, Aaron Rodgers can be upset about that, rightfully so, because you're like, I'm still putting up these numbers, but if you ain't bringing these rings in this Lombardi, it's a whole difference at the end of the day.
But also, you know what that did? That lit a fire under Aaron Rodgers because he had real talk. He had a mediocre year last year.
Right.
It showed up when they got to that playoff. Who did they lose to in that last playoff?
49ers. They win
the Niners. It was to the Niners. They had that embarrassing loss where they were trying to come back. And what did you do? You went and drafted a quarterback, and you're like, and it's one of those things. It's fucked up, but it's one of those things where fucking ESPN. You know what auto plays
the videos.
I just opened up the box score and it's auto playing ads. It literally just made the man like look at what he's doing and be like, you ain't taking my motherfucking job from me. You want to see a baller? I'm gonna show you a motherfucking baller, bitch. I'm the fucking former MVP. Okay, ho? And then what did he do? He embarrassed teams this year, bro. Yeah. Like, so I think that there is something to be said that all you're doing is infusing a little bit of motivation into players when you do something like that. And if they fuck up, then that's the moment to go, well, why don't we see what this kid can do?
Yeah.
So there you go.
We'll see. Roberto Arsenal says the Texans had an elite quarterback, wide receiver, and J.J. Watt. Now it seems only Watt remains. What a pathetic and racist owner they have. Super Bowl prediction, Saints, Ravens. Yeah, we'll get to that in just a little bit, but fair points all around there, Roberto. They had it all set up, but they also picked terrible coaches. So those coaches can bring out the best of them. And you wonder where Deshaun might be going if he really forces this trade through.
I don't think he goes, and I don't think he goes to Miami. And I'm going to tell you why.
Why would you go to Miami? It makes no sense.
Well, that's where he wants to go, but you forget the Dolphins believe in Tua. So
do they?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Didn't they pull him for Fitzmagic and shit?
Yeah, but that's him still learning the game. He's
still learning the game. They believe in that kid.
Yeah, for a quarter.
They believe in that kid. You're not going to sit there and say he was getting them on wins when they took him out. Yeah, he started having bad games, but again, you're new to the system. The quarterback deals with that.
He needs to go to New England. He needs to go to New England.
Yeah,
that's the other rumor place to go. That like real talk, the AFC East is a baby bit soft right now. The Bills look great. Miami looks dangerous, but they're still figuring it out with Tua.
Yeah.
And the Jets are the Jets. So if you want, like, you have an opportunity, you'll get a lot of those players that stayed out, mainly defensive players. You'll get a lot of those players back. So that defense is going to go back to an elite status. You plug Watson in, who's still got the sauce, and you find a way to get him at least one solid elite receiver. Fam, the Patriots are right back to being the leaders of that division if you do that.
That's true. There are a number of teams.
You got to have the coach because, again, there's no guarantee.
Belichick's going to leave.
Yeah.
Look, right now. So here's the funny thing. Now,
Bill today.
Did he accept it?
Yes.
Who accepted what?
That was it. And that's what
I'm getting a Presidential Medal of Freedom from Trump today, and he's taking it.
See, and that's going to cause a hell of a lot of controversy in the league. Now we know Robert Kraft don't give a shit, right. But when it comes to these players,
that's what I worry about. I mean, Jack Del Rio is a hardcore Trump person, but he was able to coach defense of the Redskins, the Washington football team this year without any kind of issues or any kind of blow-ups, and they looked really good. So it's just, will players look past that kind of stuff to go? Will Watson look past that kind of stuff to go play for him in New England? We shall see. But there are other quarterbacks, and Matt Ryan's roaming around out there. Matt Stafford's roaming around out there. All those are possibilities. Phillip Rivers is saying he wants to come back now. So there are a number of teams that could make these moves or make these changes at quarterback. We shall see. I would love Deshaun to come to the Washington football team, but we got nobody to trade and nothing to trade to the Texans for him.
If we lose Dak, they better fucking get fucking Deshaun Watson. Like, that would be fucking fire. If we lose Dak, you better figure out how to get me another black quarterback that can ball. God damn it.
Stay in the state. Jason Siraj says, just came in, so I don't know if you spoke on this yet, but who you got? Bills or Ravens? # Bills Mafia. All right, let's move on to that game next. Good segue. Thanks, Jason. I appreciate it. Thanks for the super chat. Yeah. So the Buffalo Bills handled their business here with I thought was my favorite game of the weekend. It was the most competitive game of the weekend, in my opinion.
We said it was going to be a dogfight.
Yeah, we did.
Those two. Yeah.
It was a perfect game to start the weekend, just like the Browns-Steelers was a perfect game to end the weekend. I thought the back and forth between both of these teams was fantastic to watch. The Bills getting in there, doing what they need to do. Josh Allen leading that team, not getting too high or too low. Remember last year they blew like a 16-point lead against the Texans in the second half, and lost the game. This time around, they got a little bit of lead. The Colts did start to come back, and then eventually they shut them down, and that Hail Mary went for naught for Phillip Rivers. But you got to give it up to Buffalo getting it done. They look damn good, and they're this quiet train that just keeps doing their thing, and you keep waiting for the wheels to fall off, and they don't. So were you guys impressed with Buffalo and how they handled their business here over the weekend?
1,000%, man. They've converted me. I would say my order of operations as far as teams out of the AFC, like I still think if the Browns beat the Chiefs, I think the Browns will make it to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
But did I say win it? I'll take back my statement of winning it.
You did say win it.
Yeah, you did say win it.
I'll take it back. I don't think I honestly, the way that I saw the Saints play, I think that the Saints are going to win the Super Bowl.
Wow.
But I will say if they beat the Chiefs, they will make it to the Super Bowl.
Okay.
Let me amend myself. But order of operations of teams that I have faith in going forward at this point, it goes Chiefs on the AFC, Chiefs, Bills, Browns, Ravens.
Okay.
And that's so to that point, I have been converted with the Bills, man. Like they look like this is their time. So I can't wait to see this matchup against Baltimore, because Baltimore to me has been a little, they've been up and down with Baltimore and Pittsburgh being the teams to beat for years in the AFC. Like it's weird to see them be up and down on shit. Like Lamar had a crazy game, but like Josh Allen has been doing this all year and people have been trying to tell us and we haven't been listening, bro, but fuck.
Well,
like
I think we
haven't been listening.
I think we have. It's just we didn't want to believe it.
Okay.
I respected the Bills' defense. I just I didn't believe that Josh Allen was that guy. But like, fuck, bro.
I've been saying it since we were on Collider Sports Time that Josh Allen, I felt he was the quarterback that got picked that the year that everybody overlooked, that I thought he would eventually settle down. I liked him in Wyoming, so I liked that he was progressing every year, better and better every year. And this year he finally blew up, and he's looked fantastic. And he was great against these Colts. And this Colts defense was nothing to sneeze at. This is a tough Colts defense. And he was able to eventually pick them apart throughout the game and get what he needed to get from his offense. And you're right. The Bills defense showed up. They played well as well. And in the end, that was enough. But this Colts team gave as good as they got. And if they hadn't gone on that 4th and 1 or whatever, I think that would have made the difference there in the game. Because they were taking way too many chances throughout the game, trying to be too bold, go for a 2-point conversion when you shouldn't go for a 2-point conversion. There was just a bunch of weird play calls by Frank Reich, and yet they still had a shot to possibly upset these Bills with Phillip Rivers driving them down the field. But the Bills stood up strong when they needed to. Jay, do you walk away from this thinking they have a real shot here against these Baltimore Ravens that look like possessed yesterday after they were down 10-0 against those Titans?
Yeah, and I'm gonna tell you why.
Okay,
that defense that Baltimore, the defense that Baltimore showed is a good one, but I don't know if I can trust their secondary as much as I would just trust their front line. Because remember, the front line for Baltimore shut Derrick Henry down.
Yep.
And they knew that was how you were going to win the game, because Tennessee knew our game is really based on Derrick Henry running over everybody, pretty much. But when it comes to receivers and secondary, it's not been crisp and concise when it comes to the Ravens.
Yeah.
So if they shut Stephon Diggs down now from Buffalo, right, you got maybe one other option. And then it's a matter of seeing how they handle this.
Well, put some respect on like some of these other people in here, bro. Like Cole Beasley. I tried to tell you, there's a reason I was upset that the motherfucker left the Cowboys, bro. Yeah. Cole Beasley is that he is that does that same shit that Wes Welker is, a little white boy with a little bit of like that quickness, like you know what I'm saying? He's like the JJ Barea of like slot receivers. Is he gonna make it to the Hall of Fame? Nah, but you will still remember that motherfucker because of just the random shit. Like Cole had multiple fucking like over 100-yard games this past season, and multiple.
So Corey Scott Johnson, Afrofuturism Production, say Cole is hurt.
I mean, if he is, that's not a good look.
He was playing hurt for sure during the whole game. Every time he caught a ball, he was like that Geico commercial. not. He's just making a lot of noise when he was getting up. You could tell. So, but they used him. He was a very good safety valve for Josh Allen in that second half when the Colts were threatening to come back and win that game. So he certainly proved his worth. But will he be in good shape enough to take on it? Because one hit by those Ravens, Lord Mary, Mother of God, you'll see your soul. You know, it's like what's his face from Doctor Strange? What's her face? It's like that.
The ancient one.
Yeah, the ancient one. Not going to for sure. All right, Frankie J says, are the Bucs going to continue the trend of the visiting division rivals beating the home team? The rubber match, Rams, Ravens, and Browns are 3-0. Yeah, we're going to talk about the Saints and Bucs in just a second, Frankie, for sure. So it's a good question. We'll figure that out in just a second. And then Jordan Freeman says, WFT, draft a quarterback or get an established quarterback. I'd rather us get a vet like Matty Ice, Stafford, or Watson. Yo, dude. First of all, Matty Ice and Matt Stafford are not even anywhere near the level of Deshaun Watson. Let's make that real fucking clear now.
I don't know.
And wait for a guy to
one of them is a former league MVP and made it to the Super Bowl. Now, mind you, part of the greatest.
I think I can see it from.
It's still a part of the greatest collapse of all time. But we kept saying this. Was that because the Falcons as an organization are trash, or is it just that Matty just couldn't hold it in the big moment? So, like,
I think Matty couldn't hold it.
I think it's both. I think, let's be honest, let's call it for both. We can't, I'm not going to give praise or credit on any side of the Falcons organization. And I'm not going to say on the ball because, again, you're the quarterback. You should be able to lead and drive this team. We know coaching situations has been terrible in Atlanta since they lost that Super Bowl. That's a stain on them the way Bounty Gate is a stain on the Saints. So you put Matty Ice in there. Okay, what, you get another year out of him at the most? A year, 2 years? So you want to build with somebody. And Matt Stafford, let's not do this. Let's not bring that conversation in because Matt Stafford is somebody, if you know, look, we're not going anywhere. We just need to get a decent amount of wins to make the stockholders happy. That's when you bring Matt Stafford in. If you want to try to win and try to put some effort with the way Washington built up this season, you get a Deshaun Watson.
That's what I'm saying. I think Stafford fits better in Indianapolis, or Matt Ryan fits better in Indianapolis because what's his face is not coming back next year for Indianapolis. Phillip Rivers. So
that's what I'm saying is Matty Ice and Matt Stafford look like a slightly upgraded version of Phillip Rivers. And Phillip Rivers almost took them.
They won 11 games.
They won 11 games and almost beat the Bills in this game.
Yep.
So like I think
that's another I got a point to prove person. Sorry.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Both Stafford and Ryan have something to prove. They've been on these teams their whole career. And these teams have continued to let them down. Like Stafford hasn't been crazy relevant as a passer, as Deontay Wimbush said. He hasn't had a weapon besides Megatron. So, like, you know what I'm saying? You want to send him to, like, you don't really have any crazy receivers though in Washington. So maybe you don't take him there.
We got a couple of good ones, but not anyone to like not even a level that we've had in the past. Yeah,
I would actually love, and maybe this would be crazy if you just want to see some shit. Take Matt Stafford, put him down in Atlanta. Take Matty Ice and put him up in Detroit. I want to see Matt Stafford, give him a Julio Jones and a Calvin Ridley, and let him ball.
That's not a bad idea. Actually.
And then set Matt, just erase the demons from Matt Ryan and let him go up to Detroit. And see if that changes stuff around. You know what I'm saying?
Detroit ain't been the same since they lost Calvin Johnson.
Yeah, Megatron's what we're saying. Connor Pearson Ward said, I think Wentz moves before any of these guys that are mentioned. Yeah, I mean, maybe Carson Wentz as well. Maybe he's a Chicago Bear next year. You never know.
Carson Wentz will take his ass to Washington. I like that.
I like that idea.
Stay within the division. Hell yeah.
I think Dak goes and then Carson goes down to Dallas. How about that? I'll put that on you.
Don't you fucking put that evil on me, Ricky Bobby. Don't you do it.
Zeno Allen says Rocha would change his tune real quick if the Washington football team traded for Matt Ryan or Matt Stafford. Well, first of all, I would change my tune and get even angrier if we traded for either one of these relics. But I wouldn't change my tune at all if we get him because I don't think any of these two are necessarily that much of an upgrade over that kid last night. Listen, or the other night. Listen, I like that kid. That kid showed moxie. He showed guts. He showed poise against Tampa Bay and Tom Brady. I mean, that's not something to like kind of ignore at this point. Taylor Heineke, I thought, did a great job the other night with the Washington football team, and we'll get to that game in just a second. But
it also showed MAGA.
Huh? Oh, well, I don't know about that.
He's a MAGA dude.
I don't know about that. It's unverified.
It's all on social media. It's his social media. He's a MAGA dude. So I don't
Don't do this to John Jay. Don't do this, bro. Like, he was so happy. This kid had a.
Oh, this just came over. Trubisky has signed a 5-year extension with the Bears. How's that feel, Jay? How's that feel, you son of a bitch? I'm playing with my emotions.
Wait, is that real though?
No, just kidding.
Nope, you don't need to see my face right now. We good.
I'm just kidding.
What the what?
Yes. All right, let's move on to the Ravens game here. We mentioned them already as they're going to take on the Bills here, but Lamar got his first playoff victory. People forget he's only 24 years old.
Fuck?
What just happened?
The fucking the front runner to be the new Dallas defensive coordinator is Dan fucking Quinn.
Dan Quinn,
fuck,
coach of the Falcons. Coach of the Falcons. Oh wait, this just coming over from ESPN. The Eagles have fired Doug Peterson as their head coach after 5 seasons.
That's not breaking, bro. That happened at 9 this morning.
Yeah, well, was the show going on at 9 this morning? It's just breaking for me.
I was just saying, we talked about that for a while on SEN, and poor Ryan was out here being like, I get him out, please, just get him out. But you gotta appreciate me, Ben, Ben, myself, and Ryan all were like, yo, we got to give it up to that kid over in
Washington.
Yeah,
he did all right, didn't he? Quinn to be the new favorite to be the new Cowboys defensive coordinator for sure. Yeah, that's a possibility right there. Anyway, the Ravens, Lamar Jackson got his first playoff win here after kind of blowing it the last couple of years, coming in as a favorite. He was an underdog here, and they went down 10-0 to this tough Titans team, and they eventually unleashed Lamar Jackson, and the defense went old school, and they got this victory and held off the Titans and then danced on the logo, which was a huge controversy for a lot of people. But people forget that the Titans did the same thing to the Ravens a few weeks ago. So this was more payback, kind of like the Browns dancing that Juju Smith-Schuster dance after they beat the Steelers last night. The Ravens did the same thing. My initial reaction was, man, that's classless. Let's just get that victory. Let them be the idiots. But then again, it's the passion of football. These are young men. They're going to have a little fun getting it in your face. I can totally respect that. What did you guys think about this game and also about that shit at the end?
I'm just making sure they ain't signed. I'm not seeing those.
No, we didn't sign. I was joking. Go ahead.
Okay, because I thought, man,
right, and they didn't shake hands. The Ravens did not shake hands.
Because they
Bulls Pistons from the 90s here. Yeah,
this was a hi, you bitches.
Yeah,
you thought you got it. Yeah, it was turnabout is fair play.
Yeah.
I mean, people are like, they should have just been better and not blah blah. Fuck all that. You went in this. You disrespected us in the regular season. Mm-hmm. Then you thought because of the disrespect, and then coming into this playoff game, we had no hope. This is the Ravens thought. So yeah, we finna make you feel bad about yourself. They held Derrick Henry to 40 yards.
Yeah,
40.
Incredible. They shut down Derrick Henry. What'd you think?
Nobody does that. So, you know what I'm saying? Like, what they did at this point is they had to go all in. Like, Derrick Henry reminds me so much of Adrian Peterson. If you let him go, you're fucked. Mm-hmm. Like, he will obliterate you if you're not putting 8 in the box every fucking time. Yeah. But I think the other thing with that, Jay, is like you said, you called it. You said that the Ravens secondary is a little suspect. So what else you gonna do other than shut the run down? This actually worked in their favor because obviously A.J. Brown is a phenomenal receiver. The rest of the receiving core for Tennessee is kind of suspect. If you need proof,
there were some critical drops. You're right there, Winston. Yep.
If you need proof, I'm looking at the box score. Guess how many targets total there were? There's 26 passes thrown, right? Mm-hmm. Guess how many went to A.J. Brown? 10. You know what I'm saying? Almost half, which just goes to show that you don't necessarily have a whole either they're not getting open or you don't have a lot of faith in the rest of the receiving core. Mm-hmm. So what do? You shut down the one player that has consistently won games for them, that has consistently had 200-yard games multiple touchdown games, shit we've never seen before. Right. You go for the biggest threat and you deal with it. Like they say, what you cut off the head of the snake, and the body will fall. That's the head of the snake there, and that's what they went after. So.
You could tell that Henry was running he was a little more, how can I say this, a little more cautious when he was hitting the line. Rather than battering through, he was trying to kind of weave through the spaces because the Ravens had kind of closed down the areas that Henry was used to having open during the whole year. So he was trying to kind of weave his way. And there were a couple of moments where if a defensive back hadn't come up at the right time to tackle Henry could have broken off a 60-yarder or a 50-yarder that would have broke the backs of the Ravens, but they didn't allow that to happen. They held Tennessee to their lowest point total all season with only 13 points. There's some stats here that are pretty incredible here because Lamar Jackson ran for like 328 yards. Derrick Henry ran for over 328 yards during the last two meetings. He was held to 40 yards this time around. That's insane. And the Ravens finished with a 401 to 209 yards edge in total offense, and they just couldn't slow down Lamar Jackson after halftime. Harbaugh went in there and did some coaching. And remember, he was 0-2 versus Vrabel when they've played. And so they went in there and they made some adjustments, and they let Lamar do his run option, and it just completely tore up the defense for the Titans.
But also, the thing we need to remember, too, especially with this game, with the Ravens going into they've got – I just forgot. My brain just went.
The Bills?
The Bills. Yeah. If you look at the game, again, yes, the Ravens won. Yes, the Ravens were dialed in. Yes, all that. Right. And I go back to that weak secondary. But also, look at how they scored. Mm-hmm. The only two touchdowns came from Lamar Jackson himself and J.K. Dobbins. The other points were field goals.
Yes.
That's not going to cut it.
No.
Against Buffalo. Yeah.
Buffalo, no. But I just realized that someone made a good point. The last playoff win by the Ravens was the wild card Saturday 2014. Yep. And their other two playoff appearances in 2018 and 2019 bounced out in the first.
Yep. When they came in with all this hype, and Lamar, and last season against those
that was after Lamar's MVP season.
Yep.
Well, that was last year was his MVP season where he lost.
Yeah. They got beat.
But so you got a team like that. And I'm sorry, John.
No. Go ahead, Jay. Go ahead.
A team like this again, we see him firing on all cylinders. We see Lamar pumped up, playing like we know Lamar Jackson to play. But the problem is when we see that and when that happens, we're looking at the regular season. We're not looking at a postseason. And again, if you go, yes, you can do what you did in this game, in this wild card game, to go to the divisional round. But you're going against a team that's been on fire all season, top to bottom.
Yep. It's true. And that's the thing. And the Bills, like the Ravens had something to prove to kind of revenge that upset last year and that game they lost 2 or 3 weeks ago against the Titans when they were up, I think, by 16 in the fourth quarter and blew it against the Titans, including that touchdown that they were showing all weekend with that tacos commercial. They did with Malcolm Brown busting through their defense to get into the end zone. They wanted revenge. Now, going into Buffalo, there's not necessarily that feeling of revenge. So it can carry you through one game, but will it be enough to carry you against a Buffalo team that also has something to prove? A lot of people overlook them or didn't give them a chance or don't think Josh Allen and them are real. Are they going to be ready to march into cold-ass Orchard Park, New York, and take on this Buffalo team with people in the stands who are motivated to cheer against these Ravens?
Did y'all see this, though? I don't know if you've just looked at the playoff picture. This is so interesting. Very rarely do you see it kind of mirror like this unless it's top down. But the number 2 seeds on both conferences both beat the number 7 seeds.
Right.
The number 3 seeds on both conferences both lost to the number 6 seeds. And then the number 4 seeds in both conferences both lost to the number 5 seeds. That's just fucking wild, fam. Yeah. Like, just to look at the fact that it was that, like, mirrored.
Yeah.
It's kind of crazy, but it's just something random.
Totally, man. Let's get in some StreamLabs and SuperChat. The people are sending in big time now. All right, let me see here. All right, tongue punch the fart box. Good to see you, man. Jay, could Trubisky be a Tannehill situation, and it just needs a new environment / coach? Winston, thoughts on us possibly hiring Dan Quinn for defensive coordinator? Rocha, are you willing to go into next season with Heineke? I'll answer first. Yes, I am. I like what that kid showed. He showed a lot of poise. I liked it.
How do I feel about Dan Quinn potentially being our defensive coordinator? I'm tired of the Cowboys continuously picking mediocre white men to fucking take over and just take us back into mediocrity.
That's fair.
Like, you can have another white coach, of course. I don't give a fuck. But how about you start hiring people that have actually done things? Mm-hmm. Stop hiring people that end up being complete and utter trash.
That's fair. There you go. Jay,
that's a damn good one. If he's better with just a new coach,
because
his entire career with the Bears has been with Nagy. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, just as much as we praise the highs, we got to look at the lows. Mm-hmm. And yes, even though you like this is Nagy, but also this is Mitch, mm-hmm. so it's hard to see it. I mean, maybe not just a new head coach, a whole new.
Jay, don't you mean this is us?
Oh boy. Oh my God. I hate that. I hate that show so much, bro.
Why? That show is great. How dare you?
So manipulative.
It's a great show. Why? Because it makes you cry? Come on, man.
No, it makes other people cry. I want to do a new show with Jay Washington called "This Is Actually Us," and it's completely different. Go ahead, Jay.
The last time I ever watched that show was the day before I went into the hospital and almost died. I will never, ever watch This Is Us again.
Even though they have so many like wonderful black family moments and whatnot, or black people like getting help with mental health. And
I like that.
Like, come on, man. It's a great show.
Look, let me tell you something. Look, Winston won't say it. Rocha can't say it. I will. Look, niggas getting mental health is cool, but I don't need them niggas making me cry the day before I almost die.
I think you're falsely associating the show with having anything to do with your throat. That's not. Is that what happened? You had never cried before, and you're like,
no, it got caught in your throat. And it was the episode where they showed how Jack died, and then it was that episode, and then I go into the hospital and wake up the next day. Hey, everybody, I got it too. No.
Bro, I think you're this is a false equivalency here, and you're doing this. You're associating what is actually a very good show. Like that's essentially like I just finished Cobra Kai. And if I walk outside and two high schoolers are doing some sort of karate fight, and I get kicked in the fucking mouth and lose a tooth, I'm not gonna blame that on Cobra Kai. I'm gonna go.
You are. Goddamn right. You look where you live. You should blame it on Cobra Kai. It's not that far from Racina. Also, you're not my therapist. I talk to her tomorrow morning.
Chris Palstera, how does Rocha not cry? He cries for everything. No shade, just an observation. No, bitch, that is shade. And you know who's going to cry next when I see you in the streets? It ain't going to be me. Spoiler alert. All right, next thing.
Yo, John Rocha just went full John Kreese in this bitch.
Strike hard, strike fast, no mercy. Let's see what we got. Joseph Curran said, hey guys, hope everyone is well. As a Panthers fan, I was rooting hard for the Bears yesterday. I have a sneaking suspicion that the Bucs will be the Saints next week. Am I crazy for thinking this? Because we know it's hard to beat a team 3 times in a year. Yeah. Do you think the Buccaneers here, after their showing against Washington, which was really close, by the way, do you think they will overcome the Saints? Because the Saints have handed them their asses twice now this year, and that second one was even worse than the first one. So do you think they'll turn this around somehow?
Well, I got a couple questions. First of all, I'm just seeing here that there's apparently no rushing done by what's his name? Ronald Jones. Did something happen to him?
Yeah, I think he was injured before the game.
He was injured earlier.
Yeah.
That's not good. I mean, Fournette did a good job, 93 yards on a titty. Like that's like a really solid like play there. But like I think
93 yards on a titty,
93 yards and a titty.
Oh, I was like, on a titty, you run 93 yards
on a titty, bro. You just out here. You ever hit that while you run on the titty, like just run on a titty. Just run on a titty. Just running on a titty. Hey, just running on a titty. Just running on a titty. Just running on a titty. All right, look, here's the big thing. I think the bigger thing here is like obviously Tom Brady is Tom Brady.
Yeah.
But it's their defense that was more shocking, that they did like a pretty good job. Like obviously you guys were doing work because you praised this kid, Tyler Henke, for doing what he did. But like if the Buccaneers defense plays like that against Drew Brees, and especially with a Michael Thomas return, nah, you can miss me with all that bullshit. I don't care how good Tom Brady is. Like they're both playing at a level right now of this is it.
Yep.
This is my last straw. I gotta fucking ride out on these motherfuckers. And the thing is, the Saints are more set up to win than the Buccaneers are. Let's just be real.
What you're also forgetting is one very crucial, important thing when it comes to the Buccaneers. That offensive line that is known for
I
know that's
ain't
right.
Go wrong with the titties, man.
Ain't go wrong with them titties. Not them titties.
Oh, Jay.
Okay. Sorry.
You don't watch Blurs. You don't watch Blurs. There's a prior relationship. There's a prior relationship here.
You don't keep that on the Blurs now. Go ahead.
You keep that on Blurs now.
Man,
why did you go old Southern? He went old Southern black man. All of a sudden, you better keep them titties away from me. Don't you bring them not on my goddamn show. You ain't gonna talk about no goddamn titties.
Them titties over there.
You better keep them titties over there.
Keep them titties over there. Them titties stay there. Anyway, but the thing is, we really need to talk about the Bucs suspect offensive line.
Yeah.
That is a big issue.
I think that's fair, dude. I mean, we were getting in there. We couldn't quite in the second half. We were getting in more than the first half. So wearing them down. I agree with you. I think this Saints team, as Winston said earlier, I think the Saints team's ready, man. They're hungry, and the Bears were not. I mean, the Bears defense was no laughing matter, and they pretty much handled them yesterday. So getting ready for Tom Brady.
I mean, to that point, the only reason the Saints have been stopped now.
Yeah,
twice in the last couple of years were off of no calls. Off of really bad no calls.
Yeah.
And then the other one was the Miracle in Minneapolis, and that just was sad as fuck. But that was one of those things that they didn't even beat up because it was Lattimore at the time. He was a rookie. Yeah, like, they don't even hold like he was beating up himself, but they're like, bruh, it fucking happens. Like, we as a team failed. It is what it is. So you either need a miracle play or the refs to hand you the game is the way that they have lost playoff games. Right. So unless they're going to invent some new Tom Brady rule to protect his ass, I just don't think that I get it. I get it's hard to beat a team 3 times in a year.
It is.
But the Bucs defense to give up that shit to Hanky again, what do you think Drew Brees with Mike Thomas and Alvin Kamara are going to do?
Yeah. And that defense.
Oh my God!
That's what I'm saying. Look, it don't matter. We have seen games where Tampa Bay is doing something good, then all of a sudden it's like the offensive line gives up. Tom Brady is hurried, sacked, and hit repeatedly, and you just can look at him like, "What the fuck are y'all doing?" And so you can't have those moments. You can't have those instances. You can't have those slip-ups happen in this game against a team with a very powerful defense in the States.
Yep. Anything you take well, let's keep going with these questions. There's a lot of them. Jordan Freeman says, watch the football draft. Oh, yeah, we already talked about that. Watch the football team draft a quarterback or get an established QB quarterback. I'd rather us get a vet than wait for a guy to develop. Yeah. I know. I want us to get I'm cool with Heineke, though, man. Maybe get a vet and Heineke's the backup, and then he'll probably go in there and play more than you think. But I like what that kid showed, man. If they
are you a win now team?
I'm down with it.
Win now team. That's the question.
Yeah, that's the question.
Is a win now team?
Ron Rivera said that we are way ahead of schedule than what he had planned for the team. Just because we won the division, right? And it was a shitty division, but we still won the division and gave Tampa Bay fits during that game. I mean, I walked away during the third quarter. I was like, I need to take a break because I'm getting too stressed out here. I'm going to go sit down somewhere. And when I came back, it was 18-16. And I was like, what? We're this close? And kept it close throughout the game. So I think that's the thing. If you're not in a rush, then let's see what this kid really got because he played well. So I don't know. You never know. Let's see. Tongue Punch the Fart Box says, out of all the teams left, which matchup do you think will be the least entertaining? So we have Rams, Packers, Ravens, Bills, Browns, Chiefs, Buccaneers, Saints. Maybe Rams, Packers, probably the least entertaining, wouldn't you say?
Yeah. Because we haven't even gotten to the Rams game against the Seahawks, bro. I do not believe in the Rams.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, you beat the Seahawks. Cool. Guess who has been suspect all season? If Russell Willie isn't firing on all cylinders, guess what team has been very up and down? The fucking Seahawks. But guess what other team we've said has been super up and down because their offense be trash, boo-boo trash? Fucking the Los Angeles Rams, bro.
Like what?
I said they're trash, boo, trash, trash, boo, boo, trash.
Yeah, I wanted to make sure I heard you repeat that.
Like I still do not believe in Jared Goff. I don't. Like, what has Jared Goff done to prove to me? Like, bro, he threw for 155 and a touchdown.
Yep.
That's not enough.
Take out the phrase. He took us to a Super Bowl. Take that phrase out. Then what has he done?
He took us to a Super Bowl and then put up 3 points. So miss me with that bullshit. He doesn't get a fucking. That was Todd Gurley's ass that did that.
And then now, mind you, last year, and then
because again, exactly. So again, like Akers, went off for 131 yards and a touchdown. I get that you win it on the ground.
Yeah,
but like to that point, that just happens to be Seattle's weakness. I get it that Green Bay never really has any sort of crazy defense to back it up. But you're not playing Russell Wilson, who's been hot cold. You're playing Aaron Rodgers, that's playing for his fucking spot on this team. He literally saw this young gun try and take his spot, and he's playing the way Brett Favre did when Aaron Rodgers got fucking drafted. He's like, you ain't taking my job, nigga. And that's exactly what's happening right now. So you think that Jared Goff's middling 155 yards is going to be enough to do this? You are sorely mistaken, sir.
Especially in Green Bay, where it's going to be cold as hell. The Rams aren't used to playing in cold weather games, so they're going to be rolling up into like what they did in Seattle. That's a divisional team, so you got you know that team. But going up to Green Bay, and Green Bay having something to prove after they got bounced last year in such embarrassing way, Aaron Rodgers is going to be ready for this team. And I think the Rams are mentally not that strong, and I think that's going to get exposed against Green Bay eventually because of all the weapons Green Bay has as well, and that defense is hungry as hell. So I could see that absolutely. All right, let's see what else we got next. Hitman Hudson says, more NASCAR content, please. I hate to break it to you, pal. This ain't the place for you, my man. Dwayne. Nothing against NASCAR. I just don't know it that well, nor would I try to speak on it because I don't.
I don't know it either. Shit.
Yeah, I just don't. And I grew up in Virginia.
I don't give shit if there is one black driver. The fuck?
Yeah. Dwayne Turo says, I think Washington could package Ryan Kerrigan and 2 first-round picks in 2021 and 2022 for Deshaun. It's going to move the needle with the Texans' new GM at least. Yeah, maybe. I mean, I hate to lose Kerrigan because he's been such a force for us for a number of years, but we've got that front line now with Sweat and Chase Young there. That maybe losing Ryan Kerrigan is not a bad thing. And 2 first-round picks for Deshaun, though. I don't know if I like that idea necessarily. Would the Texans do it? Because then who do they have at quarterback? They're going to bring in Matty Ice or
if you have 2 first-round picks because they're not released from contracts, you'd have to trade for them. So what you do is if you're going to do that, you do one of 2 things. You either get those picks and then you try and convince somebody like God help me for saying this, a Dak Prescott to come down there and do that, or you take Phillip Rivers who just played for a year in Indianapolis and still has the sauce since his contract's up. You say bring him in because we got these 2 picks coming in. So if you see a quarterback that you want, you go for that.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you fill in some of these gaps of where you fucking lost the sauce. But I think that's what you do.
So I talk about sauce on this show. I'll talk about sauce.
Why? Who doesn't like sauce, my nigga? Like what?
I thought about it. I was like, let's talk about sauce.
Jameis Winston, if you're trying to buy yourself some time, like you just need to buy time.
Peyton said he resigned them. Sean Payton.
He signed.
He hasn't officially done it yet. He said he's going to resign him.
Then this is my guess of what's happening. Maybe you didn't put Jameis in because you didn't want him to. You wanted him to sit and learn, so you let Taysom go and kind of see if Taysom's the truth. But if this is really it for Drew, maybe they believe in Jameis more than we realize.
Maybe. We shall see. All right. Next thing is Kenneth Daisy says, got to support the Blurds. So here's some stimmy. Jay, even I was rooting for the Bears yesterday. There you go. Thank you, Kenneth. Connor Pearson Ward says the Buccaneers receivers were dropping a lot of passes against Washington. They will not be able to get away with that against the Saints. They were. I was surprised at how many they were dropping and how they're not afraid that Tom is going to eat them up because Tom was yelling at them.
What happened?
I'm going to just share my screen. I just want to see your reaction in real time.
I don't know if I want to see this.
Do I allow you to share your screen?
Yeah, it's allowed. Don't worry. Oh, this is going to be beautiful.
Oh, no.
I just want to see Winston's face in real time.
Is this real?
That's Adam Schefter.
I can't see anything.
Oh, let me add it to the stream. What's it say?
Someone already put that in the comments. That's why I got quiet for a while.
It's already done. Damn. All right, I'm gonna remove it now.
Why'd you feel so solemn?
I'm sorry. Damn, Quinn. Someone said beautiful, Joseph. Beautiful.
Winston, I get to see
to be a mediocre straight white man. God, it must feel so nice. It must feel so nice to just fail upwards because that's what's happening. Like, why? Why? Like, we literally just got rid of our mediocre white man to pull in another mediocre white man, and now you're bringing in another mediocre white man to fucking come on, man. God damn it.
Listen, I'd like to say, hi, we're the Dallas Cowboys, or should we say the Dallas mediocre white men. I'm your owner, Jerry Jones. Listen, if you're white and you deserve another chance, I believe in you. Come on down to Dallas. If you're black, we might interview you because the Rooney Rule.
Don't be late for that plastic surgery appointment there, Jerry Jones. All right. Let's see. But Connor Pearson Ward. Oh, yeah. What he said that. What movies _ Matt said, let's fucking go. My Browns are finally getting their damn respect. Winston, can you show these guys how to do a dog check and celebrate this dub properly? Dog pound for life, baby.
You know what? I'm not doing that call ever again. I did that once because I lost a bet because the Cowboys lost to the fucking Browns. I'm not doing that whack ass fucking dog pound call again. I love you. You my homie, but fuck no, I ain't showing on you no damn dog. You know what? If the how about this? The Browns beat Washington, didn't they? It sounds like John needs to do one.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's because it's stupid. But like
he sounds so hurt.
I'm in a bad mood now. I'm in a terrible fucking mood.
Hey, you know what we're doing right now? I am having a very bad day.
I am in no mood. Today is one of the worst days I've had to be in a long time.
Hello.
Right? Wait a minute. You can read that, but do you see at the bottom Zeno Hours? Hear me out here. The Washington Mediocre White Men. Great name. The WMWM. Oh, come on. That's fucking fire.
No way. Deontay
This is the point of the video. This is the point of Rocha's video where a lot of people start pressing the thumbs down, dislike. Ain't no white guys. White guys have done nothing wrong.
No. I'm hating on mediocre white guys.
Yeah, mediocre white.
If you're excellent, like I look at like Chris Evans, that nigga can act, bro, and he's good looking and he's a philanthropist. That motherfucker gets brownie points, all right? You know what I'm saying? Like, we fucks with him. Max Kellerman, that's one of the greatest fucking sports like analysis I've seen in a while. He regularly hands Stephen A his ass.
He does.
Right? Greg Popovich, my nigga. Like, one of the greatest coaches we have ever seen. I fucks with white men that are out here doing things. But if you mediocre and you still get elite chances like you fucking earned it, kiss my ass, okay?
There he goes. Jerry Jones, if you're black, we won't call you back.
Thank
you.
Exact truth.
Laying it down.
I
love these people. I love these people. Rocha getting in on the memes. Rocha, man, y'all be kissing my ass, man. I know how to do this shit. God damn. I'm going to come up with some new memes. You could start accusing me of cheating. Kiss my ass.
Actually, I mean, when you think about it, we did give you the cam.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Hello.
Right?
Yo. Do you see Captain Levi, Mike McCarthy, and Dan Quinn enter a bar? First thing they ask for is pretzels and light beer, filling, no substance. Where are the burgers and nachos, motherfucker?
Oh, hell no, Karen.
Oh, no. Look what he said down lower.
That's
Look
right,
what Captain Levi said. Jerry Jones, there's non-white coaches in our league.
How do I allow that to happen?
Jerry Jones be a black coach on the opposite sideline. Oh, he must be an interim. He's not good for the long term.
Which would be the least entertaining matchup in the Super Bowl? I guess it would be Rams versus Buccaneers. I think that would be kind of boring.
No, how do they end up in the Super Bowl together, bro?
They're in the same.
Oh, sorry, Sorry about that. I was looking at the rundown here. So I guess Rams versus
Ravens.
Yeah, that'd be kind of boring.
Rams versus Ravens.
Yeah.
In terms of excitement and hype behind it, it's Rams and Ravens.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I guess Tom Brady going in, that's why you're saying you would give the Buccaneers a pass. I mean, the Rams are definitely the boring team out of the NFC.
Yeah.
The boring team out of the AFC, you're gonna call the Ravens boring with the way like
well,
if Lamar looks like
to the other ones in comparison to
the Chiefs, the Bills, the Browns.
Because you got to look at the stories that they'll pump behind.
All right. Yeah. You have a point. I just don't. Okay, sure.
Yeah.
Yes,
yeah.
I will concede.
Just in comparison.
I'm just. I guess what I was gonna say is like, a lot of times what sells this more than anything. Sure, it's the story, but it's like who is like the face of the team. Right. It's interesting to see Patrick Mahomes, Drew Brees, Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers. Baker Mayfield. Honestly, is interesting to fucking see in there. The Bills, I guess because of Bills Mafia and has been so long since they've been in the Super Bowl, but like I would actually argue that's a little bit more boring than the Ravens because Lamar Jackson, that motherfucker's an MVP. That motherfucker sells tickets, bro.
You got to talk about what the Bills have been lighting up the NFL. Yeah. And granted, yes, there's a difference now because the Patriots aren't a threat anymore. But the Bills have done something that nobody expected to do the way they've done it.
I get that. I just would rather watch Lamar Jackson go and ball in a Super Bowl than I would Josh Allen. Like, I'm just being real here. Like, Josh Allen Josh Allen is balling. I admitted that. I can still tell you that he's, but like, you know what I'm saying? It's kind of like one of those things where it's like, what's a good example? I feel this way about Captain America: The First Avenger. I think it's actually I'm serious. I think it's a good fucking movie. I love that movie actually, but but at the same time, I don't like period pieces. So I find myself a lot of the time watching that movie just be like, eh.
Oh, you are saying The First Avenger. Never mind. I'm sorry.
The First Avenger. Yes. Yeah. I just don't like period pieces. So like, while I'm like, yo, like Captain America's balling out, the story's mad good. I'm also like, I don't really give a shit about World War II again. Yeah. So like,
Jeremiah trying to save us. He says, Jesus is the way, the truth, and the life. Jesus loves you. Repent and turn to him. Absolutely.
Is that the prayer that I'm supposed to be saying since we just hired Dan Quinn as the defensive coordinator?
I mean, you got a Dallas Cowboys.
I saw that. That's why I asked. I was just curious. I don't know what Jesus has to do with this right now. I genuinely don't.
No, what? Joseph mentioned the Chiefs are boring like San Antonio. Bullshit.
What the fuck?
There are times we allow people to say ridiculous comment.
It's true.
And then there are times that dumbass shit like this is stated.
Bro, Patrick Mahomes versus Drew Brees is a Super Bowl. Travis Kelce, Michael Thomas, are you fucking Sean Payton, Andy Reid? Like that's a great fucking matchup.
That's a Super Bowl. That's a Super Bowl that will have all because of course there's a week leading up to it, and the week has great stories leading into it. You look at the Rams and the Ravens, and you're like, well, Jared Goff just had surgery
for his thumb.
No, that's it. You're like.
We do have one more from one more StreamLabs. What movies underscore Matt asked?
I wish I could highlight Deontay Winbush.
What? I bet cocaine is bored to that guy. To who? Wait, to who? To Joseph because he said that the Chiefs are boring.
I mean, they're the Warriors. They're of back when the Warriors were good.
The Spurs were boring. They were so elite. It was crazy.
Yeah, it's true. What movies underscore Matt asks, Rocha, just got to ask, do you want to doubt my Buckeyes tonight too? First of all, college football is happening tonight. We have it on the rundown. There's a BCS national championship happening tonight. There is the, I think 7-0 Ohio State Buckeyes taking on Alabama, who's been pretty much steamrolling everybody yet again. But once again, I don't give a shit about this game. I don't think this game means a goddamn thing. So if the Buckeyes win or the Tide win, that's great. But it's irrelevant because this season of college football is the only sport I will say this about. It is one massive asterisk the whole time. The fact that these teams didn't start on time, started 2 months later, the fact that half them got COVID and had to take out most of their games or most of their teammates so they couldn't play. This season has been ravaged by COVID, And these motherfuckers did it just so they could collect some millions of dollars in their schools' coffers. No other reason to do it. The NFL did it better, and college football is just putting these kids' lives on the line for some trophy tonight it's really irrelevant, in my opinion. If you celebrate that you won national championship this year, it means not a goddamn thing. What do you guys think?
Do you say that about the Lakers and the Dodgers too?
No. That's what I said. I said the only sport is college football because the level playing field was there for the Lakers. The level playing field was there for the Dodgers as well. Everybody went into the bubble. Everybody had the same conditions. The fact that in college football, some games were postponed or canceled, or some players didn't play big critical games because of COVID.
That's all I was asking.
Such a short season. It does. I think to me, it's
just Ohio State played 6 games before they went to their bowl game. 6. Their season was 6 games, dog.
Yeah. Like, see, my problem, and this is why maybe I never got into college football. A part of it is because I didn't go to a D1 school, but the other part of it is that I get bored with their championships and their playoffs because it's always essentially the same 5 teams.
Yeah, and
there's no room for parity. Like, I'm excited about these playoffs in the NFL because it's like the fucking Cleveland Browns could win the Super Bowl. The Buffalo Bills could win the Super Bowl. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers could win the Super Bowl. You know what I'm saying? These are all teams that have had random moments of greatness here and there, but for the most part have not been that, but they have a legitimate shot at fucking doing some shit. When have we heard of a college playoff that didn't include at least Alabama, Ohio State, LSU, or you know what I'm saying? Like, it's always the same fucking 4 teams. So I just don't care. I don't care.
Even this year, there were, I think, 3 teams outside of the top 5 power conferences that were undefeated with 11-0, 10-0, 9-0 records, and they still put in shit-ass Notre Dame to get their butts whooped into the playoffs because they wanted to make money. They were like, well, we're not going to sell Houston. It's not going to sell us to put Cincinnati in there or Coastal Carolina. So we'll go with these guys. Same thing they did in Central Florida. They screwed Central Florida as well. They do that. And you're right, Winston. It's because they want to put their money in. They want to control the situation.
Yeah.
So
it's irrelevant. Miss me with that. Hit me with, let me see like some talented players play each other. Yeah. But there are talented players all over that. There's a reason why you don't end up with an entire Alabama team making it to the NFL. You know what I'm saying? There are talented players all over the fucking country. To genuinely only see the same 6 schools be in the conversation, I don't care. I genuinely don't give a single fuck.
Yeah, and it's also because those schools won't schedule those other schools because they're afraid to get beat by those other schools because they'll tumble down the rankings.
There you go. But I fucking love college basketball and March Madness because of the fucking parity. All of a sudden, Harvard can win a game, and you're like, "What the fuck? Harvard just beat Duke. What just happened? Oh my god!" Like that's amazing. Yeah. That's fucking great.
And I want to address this comment from Fred Tastic. He said, "What?" Says the shortened season Redskins fan. I love when they can't spell. Here's the thing, Fred Tastic. Let me put this on the line for you, and I'm going to kick it real slow for you so you get it. The Redskins and the strike shortened season play the same number of games as everybody else. That's my point. So if they're playing different games, they're playing not the same. Like if they're getting the games canceled on and postponed, all that because of COVID, it is an asterisk season. So I hope you get that. Playing the same games under the same conditions as everybody else. That's what matters. That would have been fine if college football had limited the amount of games. All the conferences started on time. Games weren't completely taken off their schedule, like Clemson, Florida State, essentially going, we're not going to play the game because we have 20 players with COVID. Those are the things that make a difference. So I hope I explained it to you, Fred. I hope you got it.
Kenneth Daisy with the fucking sauce.
What did he say?
This just in: the Bears have officially been downgraded to an NCAA team.
Yikes. Yikes. Oh, no.
Oh,
that's a shame.
My goodness.
Matt Ward, very upset about that. Fuck you. I can't take you for that comment. LOL. Oh, man. Hilarious. All right. Let's see if we got any more StreamLabs. All right. Keep sending them in, folks. We got about 30 minutes left in the show. We're going to get into some other things as well here on the show here. All right. So we talked about the Rams game. We talked about, do you want to say anything more about the Buccaneers game? Seemed pretty pretty straight up. So let's take a look at these matchups. And you talk about the Rams, right? Is there anything more you want to say about the Rams game? The Seahawks relying on the run game, not throwing the ball. I mean, what is Russell?
Because they didn't trust Russell.
Yeah, talk to me about
his arm. That's all that meant.
There were all these chances for MVP, Jay. Why didn't they trust him?
What you mean chances for MVP? That shit died week 7?
Okay, fine, fair enough.
That shit died week 7.
Okay.
First 3-4 weeks, we were like, yo, Russell out here showing he should be in this conversation. Russell showing he should be in this conversation. Russell out here just said, fuck this conversation. Because that's what happened.
Here's what's embarrassing, and this is how you know this is a fucking problem. Russell Wilson threw for, 19 to 27. That's about an additional 8 passes. He threw 8 more passes than Jared Goff. And Jared Goff was only short of him a touchdown and like 20 yards.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's a problem. You threw 8 more passes and you only got 20 extra yards on the shitty quarterback we're talking about over for the Rams. That's not good, bro. That's not good at all. And Russell just didn't really look like himself. There's a lot of random plays, including like a bunch of failed interceptions that happened. There was like 2 or 3 plays where the ball literally just happened to skip off the ground a split second before or got bobbled because someone got turned around. Like, it was a bad look, man. And when DK Metcalf, who has had the type of season that won me fantasy football championships because of how dominant he was, is like, he put up 5 receptions, 96 yards, and 2 touchdowns, which is a great performance. But like, when that's all that happened, when there was really nothing else to write home about the rest of the game, oh God, dude, you're in trouble.
I was surprised at how methodical Los Angeles did, just grinding the Seahawks into the ground. And you're right. The Seahawks kind of did it to themselves a little bit too by going away from Russell, trying to implement this kind of run heavy offense. And I wonder if there's maybe an injury here that we're not being told about, because it was a complete sea change from what we saw in the first, as you said, Jay, the first 7 games. Russell was balling, but they kind of slowly started making some changes to the offensive philosophy and started focusing more on the run game. And then eventually that's what they had to rely on here in this playoff matchup. And the Rams took care of it. Aaron Donald, all of them up front, they took care of business defensively. And then they had to rely on Russell's arms. And right, Russell was 11 catches, 11. That's it, of 27 for 175 yards. And yeah, you talk about DK Metcalf's yards, Winston, but 51 of those was on the touchdown that was a broken play. So it wasn't a 51-yard pass. It was a quick pass that because of a broken play, he got 51 yards out of it. So, yeah, that's the thing that worries me about these Seahawks going forward.
And I got to call out Robert Yamagata real quick because he keeps being like, he's brought up twice now about Jared Goff's broken thumb. Miss me with that, because you know what? He didn't have the rest of the season, a broken thumb, and he was still mediocre. This happened in the last couple of weeks.
All don't have fingers, fam.
They should break his thumb more often if he gets victory.
I'm saying stop. Don't make excuses for Jared Goff. I get it. There's a broken thumb and he has pins in it. I understand that. It's not like he was throwing for 504 touchdowns a fucking game and then he broke his thumb and now he's doing this. Then I'm like, cool. Right. This is still the same game that Jared Goff played without a broken thumb. So this was 1,000%. And the other thing that happened to the Rams, and this is where they're in a lot of trouble, and I don't think people are admitting this because they're maybe not remembering, they are injury fucked. So hard. You lost Aaron Donald for like half the game, and they eventually brought him back in. But players left and right on the Rams side of the ball were getting it was one of those, the Seahawks lost the battle, but they may have won the war of fucking the Rams for the rest of the playoffs, because a lot of your major players are now hurt or going to have to play through some injuries and shit like that. And going up against oh my God, who they're playing against the Packers. Going up against the Packers, where Aaron Rodgers is happy that Aaron Donald might be lost on a step. Oh my God.
Yeah. Donald left in the third quarter with the rib injury. He tried to come back a couple of times, and then eventually just sat him on the bench for the second half. And then Cooper Kupp limped off the field at the end of the game, grabbing his right knee. So if Cooper Kupp is out and Donald is limited, you have no chance against the Packers.
Zero chance against the Packers.
You
ain't playing. You already were going in before hearing about the injuries before last night's game. You were already going into the series not at 100%.
Yeah.
And again, remember, the Packers had the bye week.
Right.
So that's a rest up, healthy team.
Yeah. I mean, and I see it. Yes, you got a sack when Donald wasn't there. Yes, you're still a number one defense. But here's the thing: you're a number one defense with a generational defensive player.
Yeah.
Meaning you're already sort of beatable when you have Donald there because your offense is suspect. But if you don't have Donald there, you probably go from a number one defensive team to maybe a top 5. That's a massive difference. Real talk. Like, there is something to be said about when Donald is not on the field. Like, as a matter of fact, go and look. When Donald was off the field was when the Seahawks fucking got some more points on the board. Yep. And then he came back, and then Russell was fucked again. So,
you got to ask yourself, is Russell, obviously Russell signed that huge contract extension last year, so it looks like he's quarterback of the future. How long is Pete Carroll going to be there with these kind of disappointing playoff performances with this team and this team full of weapons? DK, the running back.
Give him 2 more years. That's it. 1 or 2. See what he does. If they go playoffs into divisional next year, then you might keep him. But it also depends too on that record that you have regular season, because you have remember the Bears fell backwards into the playoffs at 8.
That's Jordan Freeman makes a good point. I forget that Ramsey got sent over to the Rams last year from the Jaguars. So yes, they have 2 generational defensive players. I agree with you 1,000%. But when you consider that the Seahawks weren't really throwing because they couldn't, because Russell Willie was boo-boo, Jalen's not there to help you stop the run game. Like, very rarely are you bringing corners in like that to stop the run game.
I know what's wrong with Russell Wilson. Wrong with Russell Wilson.
Tell him.
He 1-2 stepping all in his wife. Yeah. Like, he pumping all that baby bat out in Sierra. Like, my man ain't got no energy.
Wow. Okay. All right. You're going. Wow. That is what you're going with. I would rather go with the fact, didn't she? Like, she just had a kid. I know she just had a kid. Wasn't it twins, or am I crazy?
I think she might have had twins. I wouldn't be surprised.
I would argue further on the fact of being a new parent. He ain't got no, like, yes, I'm sure he's a millionaire. He's got a nanny or something. But even with that, the baby's still crying, waking you up in the middle of the night and shit. Mm. And he's a good father. He's proven this a million times. He's been a great father to somebody else's kid. You know what I'm saying?
Don't do this one. Don't bring this up. That's a discussion for the streets. That's a discussion for the streets, fam. Don't do this one.
What's happened now? Dave said, Pete Carroll makes poor choices. Clock management has never been good. Dude uses timeouts like an addict uses crack. Yikes. Wow. Habitual line stepper.
Well, I mean, again, it's like I said, going back to Carroll, how long does he have?
Yeah.
It depends on what their record is this next upcoming season and how far they go in the playoffs. I guarantee you the ownership of Seattle isn't expecting them to win it. You know, we all say the goal is to win the championship. Yeah, but then you have to be realistic within yourself.
Right. And he did sign. Sorry, go ahead, Jay.
Go ahead.
So he did sign a contract extension through 2025 last year.
Who, Carroll?
Yeah, Carroll. So there, and it's paying him about $11 million a year.
Jay, that's fucking funny. No, man, come on, fam. That's a discussion for the streets.
That's a discussion for the streets. We're not finna do this whole Future and maybe Daddy's because nigga, and Future wasn't a bad father. I'd have seen Future shoot this nigga. No, it is Future's fault. It is all his fault. That's what I'm saying. Like, that's why I said
Russell is too busy making TikTok. That's actually, yo, you want to know how serious that is? Kristen watching the game was like, what the fuck? Come on. Stop making fucking TikToks with Sierra and fucking play. And I was like, I've never seen you yell about football like this. I'm still turned on right now.
Yeah, because Olivia Munn was draining the discount double check out this nigga.
Yeah,
I don't know if I agree.
I know.
Because you know the rumor.
Yeah. How do you beard it up? I don't understand how you. I'm just saying. Everybody's heard the rumors, man. There's a reason his family don't talk to him, and it ain't because he's not a nice guy.
His family don't talk to him? I didn't know.
Oh, yeah. You didn't know that? Oh, no, God. No. Yeah, that's a huge issue.
Yeah, even his brother, who's like the brother was just on The Bachelor and shit, or The Bachelorette.
He made some comments about it when he was on The Bachelorette as well, and it was an interesting conversation.
No!
But also, let's just say for those who there's a rumor that Aaron Rodgers is gay, right?
Okay.
Here's the issue: if he comes out, there is zero problem. It actually does for him to openly come out.
Yep.
Than it does to stay closeted.
You know what's actually funny? now, or even when he just won the Super Bowl or just won the MVP, where I feel like good times to do it. The last thing I would hate to have happen, he waits until he's like playing like Brett Favre did on the way out, and then says something. You know what I'm saying? Don't wait until your career's almost done.
Right.
But again, I also it's his life. So do whatever you want. It's your like whatever. But like if this is true, if this is really what's going on, I would have loved for him to do it while he's a super, because that's the one thing we have missed from professional sports is somebody to announce that they're gay at the peak of their career.
Yes.
You know?
I agree.
But also, let's go back to Russell and these TikToks. If you were married to Sierra, wouldn't you be making TikToks too?
Yeah, Sierra's beautiful.
Wait, y'all have never heard the rumor about Aaron? Like, go Google that shit, bro. Like there was a whole thing. There was a whole thing about when Sam Darnold, when Sam Darnold, was that his name?
Michael Sam.
Right. I'm mixing up Aaron Donald. When Michael Sam came into the league, they were kind of using that, like obviously they wanted to support him and let him do all that. But the league was kind of watching, and there was a PR team that was working. They even announced, we're working with the player, like a major player that we want to, and then the things with Michael Sam didn't go so well, and people were running their mouths and shit. And then all of a sudden they went from like, we have a big press conference we want to do to never mind.
Because Michael Sam, he was pumped up because he was coming out of Mizzou. He was, again, you were in a division that's an NFL light division. So they were like, he's a defensive, he's gonna come in and he's gonna be killing. Had dope ass combine numbers, everything. Preseason happened, and they were like,
who had dope combine numbers? Michael Sam?
Yeah, Sam
he did not.
No, right. You're right.
No, he did not.
Sorry, signing for a stunt.
Yeah, I'm sorry. You're right. He did. My apologies. I forgot. It was somebody else I was thinking about. But yeah, he didn't have it. And then he got the team, and everybody was like, oh
no. Well, and Ryan Christensen, I agree with you. I don't give a fuck if he is. I don't give a fuck. I don't give
watching live now, Christian. I'll call you when I'm done.
Oh. I don't give a fuck if he is at all. This is more for there's two things here. The one is I would just love to see that in sports, because all that's going to do is further open stuff up and let people just be themselves. That's the only reason on that. And then the other is, if he is, and there is this whole like high profile of who is he dating and all that kind of stuff, you don't understand how a lot of times that can put a lot of pressure on you mentally that can fuck your shit up. And so that was the whole thing. When he was dating Olivia Munn, there was a lot of talk about how his gameplay was going down. What happened?
I'm not putting it up.
Okay, I just want you to read it. I'm not saying
Which one? Oh, the Metarana?
Yeah, I'm not putting that.
I read that a while ago. Bro.
Okay,
I just yeah.
Yikes.
Yeah.
But like think about all the players that if you're in a high profile relationship, that shit has bit you in the ass. Tony Romo and Jessica Simpson. Right now they're saying, like, against he's been married to Sierra for a while, but specifically they just had a kid. So, you know, or twins. I can't remember. There's a lot that's said about how dating lives a lot of times can turn into some form of a minor distraction. Absolutely. People have made the argument that Matt Stafford took a massive step back because his wife was out here talking about COVID. Yeah. And all of a sudden he's like, baby, can you shut up, please? Shut the fuck. Oh, shut up. And then all of a sudden, like, he's not playing so well this season. So there's something to be said that if relationships are rocky or a distraction, they can affect gameplay.
Because it's like real life.
Yeah. Real life.
It's real life. And I think that's the thing people forget, that no matter how much of a pedestal we put any athlete on, any celebrity on, at the end of the day, they are still human.
Also, Dave Drano saying the Seahawks played it too. Yeah, I'm curious. I'm not a father, but I have had to help my siblings babysit with newborns. Yeah, it's maybe not that he was rest broken that one day, but if the last week he had been up at 3 a.m. every fucking night, I don't care how much sleep you got, you're gonna be fucked up.
As a parent, that shit is real. I don't think people understand this. Like, I've had, a lot of times I was fortunate where with my son's mom and even with my daughter's mom, my kids, they want that motherly touch to quiet, especially when they're being breastfed. But like my son, like he would cry and then I would have to wrestle. And I knew I was going to have at least a 20, 30-minute match. And so now I'm before the show, I'm in Starbucks and every gas station putting all type of caffeine in my system just so I can be normal, not even be elevated. Yeah. So it does. There's a big thing.
Dave, I. So that's all I'm saying is that it's with the baby to have just come through. Even if unless you have a wing big enough that the baby's on the other side and the nanny's taking care of it and shit. Even if it's like fuck, you had a full day of practice, coach yelling at you, you had to go shoot a commercial, you fucking all that shit, and then you're like, I need a solid 8. I need a solid 8 because I got to go out here and ball. If the entire week you're getting like 4 and like 3.5. And 4 and 2 and 2 and 4. You're not getting that proper REM cycle shit that you need to be at the top of your motherfucking. And sometimes Russell looked confused. Yeah. And you know what else makes you look confused? Being mad motherfucking tired.
True. Cheryl putting a shout out here saying, let's get to 175 likes today, people. Yeah, let's get to 175 likes. We had 146 right now. We got about 15 minutes left. Come on. If you haven't hit that thumbs up button, hit that thumbs up button before we get on out of here. All right, so let's hit this thing real quick about what the matchups are this weekend. We talked about them already, but let's get some final predictions about where you think this is going to land, who is going to win these games. We start off with the Rams, as we just mentioned here, taking on the Packers. That starts our weekend. What do you guys think? Who wins this one?
Which game? Packers and Rams?
Rams, Packers, yeah.
We really got to ask who we think.
Packer.
We really got to think. We're asking who what they think.
Packers. Yeah, I'm asking you. Packers? Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, and this is as a Bears fan, I know me saying that, but there's no way you can convince me that this Rams team is beating that Packers team.
Right.
There's no way you can convince me of that. Okay. It would literally have to be, we see all these weird referee calls because it is even just plays. It is always referee calls that we have to see. And so that's the only way I see the Rams winning this. But at the end of the day, this is the Packers.
Okay. Yeah. Packers are favored at 4.5 right now. All right. We got the Baltimore Ravens at the Buffalo Bills. That's the 5:15. So a later game for everybody here. 8:15 p.m. Eastern time. This is an interesting situation here. The total is set at 49.5 points. The Bills are 2.5 points favorites. Do you guys agree? The Bills over the Ravens? Or do the Ravens shock the Bills in Buffalo?
I got Bills.
Okay.
I got the Bills. I mean, if I would love to see the upset.
Yeah.
To see the upset would be nice. Yeah. Because look, we finally got the one playoff win out of Lamar. Mm-hmm. 2 would really shut people up.
Yeah, that's true.
2 would really shut people up. But again, this is the same Bills has been playing like they've been playing all season, man.
Yeah. I think Bills too. I think the Ravens kind of blew their wad, for lack of a better term, last weekend, getting the job done and beating these Titans. Now I think they're going to come back down to earth against the Bills. It's a whole different animal. The Browns take on the Chiefs, 12:05 p.m. PT here on Sunday. So do you guys think the Browns take this one, or does Kansas City take it in Kansas City? Do the Browns pull the upset?
Kansas City.
Okay. All right.
Chase Claypool said it best while he was streaming. Yep, it was a loss, but Brown's about to get clapped. That's all it is. Wow. He said it in the stream. He was like, yeah, it was a tough loss, but the Browns about to get clapped next week.
Oof. I'm going to go with Cleveland. I got a weird, funky feeling about this team, and the Chiefs at times have been subject to some close wins against some suspect teams. And remember, they got upset by those Raiders. I know it's a divisional game, but still, I just got a weird feeling about these Browns and Baker swinging it around. I don't know.
Sir, again, they may have lost to the Raiders, but again, all season, y'all, we have not seen Patrick Mahomes really show up and show out. And I've said it all season. It was that play for the number 1 seed. Yeah. That was it. Now it's playoff Chiefs ball. Right. Different game.
We'll see. Remember, they won only 17-14 against the Falcons. They beat the Saints by 3 points. The Dolphins only by 6. The Broncos only by 6. The Panthers only by 2 points. So I'm just saying, there's some suspect. And the Bills beat them 26-7. They beat the Bills only by 9. So I'm just going to put it out there. I just feel like the Chiefs aren't as strong as they were last year, but we shall see. Maybe Andy Ryan's got a whole new playbook. He's going to throw that down on the ground and be like, okay, let's get into the real plays now against Cleveland. That's certainly possible. All right, the last game of the season, or last game of the weekend here is Yeah, where am I at here? I'm losing it. Oh, well, I don't know where it's at. I lost it. Oh, here we go. Okay. Last game of the weekend here coming up for the playoffs. This is going to be an exciting one. I think it's a great way to end the weekend. Myself personally, the Buccaneers and the Saints. This one's going to be a knockdown drag out, like 55-50 game, don't you think? But I think the Saints still win this. I think they're just a better team, more equipped to handle it. What do you guys think?
The Saints.
Yeah.
I'm very chalk here. Obviously, I went with all of the, I believe, just looking at this, I picked the Bills, the Chiefs, the Packers, and the Saints. I went with all the 1 and 2 seeds. Yeah. It's not to say that, Tampa Bay, Baltimore, Cleveland, and LA can't make an upset, but there is these 4 teams that are at the top, in my opinion, are substantially better than the other teams that they're playing. Now, any given Sunday, obviously, but I just don't think that it's as close as it looks on paper. I have a harder time picking if this comes true, so that it's the Bills and Chiefs and Packers and Saints. I have a harder time picking those games than anything else, but I just don't. They all played really well this year. I just don't, or in this past weekend, I mean, I don't see enough out of these lower seeded teams to pull the upset. It doesn't mean they can't, but I don't see enough to feel confident to make that call.
That's fair. 2 last. We got one StreamLab, one super chat here. 20 grand bucks says Ravens 3 quarterbacks, cornerbacks versus the Bills 3 wide receivers. Who wins? Because Bills have no running threats. Yeah, that's a fair point about the Bills running threat. But
3 corners versus the 3 receivers. You have to double Stephon, and Cole is a nightmare. So I go with the Bills receivers over the Ravens, because you don't have a Jalen Ramsey. You have a really good set of corners, but you don't have if you had a Jalen Ramsey and it was like Jalen Ramsey on Stephon Diggs, then I would say give me Baltimore's corners.
Right.
But you don't have somebody that can lock down an elite player. So
yeah, I agree with that. I just feel like the Bills are going to be a little more equipped to handle what they need to handle. I think Josh Allen, better quarterback than Ryan Tannehill right now, and so he's going to find his. And don't forget about those tight ends. He's been finding his tight end more and more over the last few games. Josh Allen has. That could make a difference too if he's able to use him as a safety valve throughout the game. Jay, any thoughts on this? You got Ravens or Bills in terms of the quarterbacks versus wide receivers? Yep. Okay. Good answer, Jay. Thanks so much. Oh, where'd he go? He dropped out. Son of a bitch dropped out.
His internet probably went down.
Oh, Jesus, not again. All right, Dwayne Turo donated. He said, Jay should be careful because he might be bringing a curse on the Bears with all that stepping over the line. I mean, what if Adam Gase ends up getting a gig with Chicago? That's a possibility, too. Sorry, I missed Jay on that one. I didn't know he dropped out, so there you go. Let's see. Josh Mabry says, Dan Quinn hired as D coordinator for Dallas. Solid lateral hire, LOL. Sure. Yeah.
What possessed Jerry Jones to go, wow, you know what was dope? The way that we just got onside kicks and scored hella fast on that defense. That makes him a good fucking option to replace our defensive coordinator. Miss me with that bullshit, man.
That's fair.
My God. That's like the difference is, I was going to say that reminds me of when Kevin Durant was up 3-1 and then went to the Warriors the next year after fucking losing in the Western Conference Finals. The difference there, at least, is Kevin Durant is Kevin fucking Durant.
Yeah.
Well, Dan Quinn ain't no goddamn Kevin Durant of coaching. Fucking get the fuck out of here.
Joseph Asher says, like the Bears, Jay's Wi-Fi is out. Oh, damn.
Oh! And also, I see you, Ryan. I understand. I know you didn't mean any disrespect. It's easier sometimes to just explain stuff. So we good. Don't even worry about it.
Yeah. There you go. Time for Rocha's Minute. I wish I got another show after this one. My life never ends, guys. All right, let's see here. One last thing. We should get into this, Winston. One last story here on the rundown. We'll skip the Deshaun Watson thing. We touched on it already. So the PGA Championship is leaving Trump National. For many of you who might have been in a coma for the last week or so, you saw what happened there last week there at the Capitol building, and this has been basically a firestorm of people abandoning Trump or abandoning the Trump brand, and the PGA is the latest. The PGA is one of those ones that has held on for the last 4 years amidst all the controversy, and I'll assume you know why. It's populated by mostly rich white dudes, so they just kind of held on, and probably most of them are Republican, but they held on, and then with all that happened here last week, they finally made a decision yesterday to move on from the doing the 2022 PGA Championship there at the Trump National Golf Club in Bedminster. It was awarded back in 2014, so this wasn't something that was awarded last year. This is a while coming. The statement from the PGA was the PGA of America Board of Directors voted tonight to exercise the right to terminate the agreement to play the 2022 PGA Championship at Trump Bedminster. It has become clear that conducting the PGA Championship at Trump Bedminster would be detrimental to the PGA of America brand and will put at risk the PGA's ability to deliver on many programs and sustain the longevity of our mission. So, Winston, kind of a surprise, but not really a surprise. Finally, a line had been crossed far enough for the PGA to move or essentially kind of suspend their relationship with Donald Trump and his golf clubs. Not clubs that are carriers, but actual clubs that are golf courses, I guess. What do you think about this, in your opinion?
I mean, it makes sense.
Yeah,
it makes sense in that, like, it's not just the PGA. The world is starting to cut ties.
Yeah.
And I think that's, and it was something that in my mind and in your mind, because we're very transparent with our feelings.
Yep.
On this stuff, that I wish people would have done this sooner.
Yeah. Sure.
But the man encouraged his followers to continue with an insurrection.
Yep.
So why would you keep doing business with somebody that is, like, you know what I'm saying? That doesn't add up. But yeah. I know you don't care if we get political on this thing, on this particular show, but it's one of those things that just makes logical sense. I would expect that to continue to happen, as this is probably one of the most dangerous things we've seen in this country in a while, to encourage that. But
in centuries.
Yeah, call me woke if you want. This just makes logical sense.
Yeah, I agree. It makes logical sense 1,000%. I mean, you just hit that wall, and there are some tournaments that were going to be held in some Trump golf courses internationally as well, who said that they're not going to hold them now in those golf courses, and they're rethinking where they're going to hold these tournaments. At this point, with what's happened, it's a smart move. And look, this is not getting political. This is sports related. This is sports connected, very much so. And the reason it's being moved is because of what happened here. And the PGA even said, we find ourselves in a political firestorm not of our making. Lord knows the PGA is taking enough shit for their kind of men's only approach to things sometimes. So, they've gotten in their own way before. This kind of a situation you kind of have to do to show, like, hey, this is and wouldn't be surprised if some players step forward and said, hey man, I don't want to play at this course. And maybe some big name players said, I'm not showing up. People like Tiger Woods, maybe some other players said, you know what, we don't want to show up at this golf course and deal with this crap and have our brands attached to that. What happened on Wednesday?
Can we also talk about real fast? Someone brought up the Warriors, man. Yeah. The Warriors are 6-4 right now. Like, they're fucking.
I love watching the Dubs play. It's like the We Believe years. They could be up by 20 or down by 20 in any given quarter. It is so fun to watch. Go ahead, Winston. Sorry.
That's just it. It's just the fact that, like, let me pull up the standings. Yeah, so they're fifth right now. They're 6-4, bro. Like,
they've won 4 of their last 5, man.
Dude. It's so, like, remember, they were the worst team in basketball, or they were like right next to it. You know what I'm saying? They are 6-4 right now. Like, that's so dope to see that. And I love that because, I guess my 2 favorite teams in the NBA are obviously the Mavericks, but then the Warriors. I'm a massive Steph Curry fan, so it's dope to see them out here just balling on fools.
Yeah, I mean, they the We Believe years, that was 2006, 2007 when they got into the
I don't want to talk about that. I don't want to talk about that. Because that was the fucking stupid ass year where we, as the number 1 seed Dallas Mavericks, close, we didn't break the record like the Warriors did, but we were like knocking at the door. I want to say we were maybe like 6 or 10 games away from potentially looking at that record and shit. And then we fucking lost to Baron Davis in the first round in a sweep. We don't talk about the We Believe years. Go fucking mix me with that shit. But if you mean the Dubs of the last decade, I'm cool with that.
I'm just reading as it was laid out here.
You see that? Robert's like, I got PTSD. You're damn right I do. I have some serious PTSD from when we were the number 1 fucking seed. Yeah. The worst part about that is, bro, we went to the NBA Finals, got cheated out of a title because the refs were just giving Dwayne Wade whatever the fuck he wanted. So we got cheated out of a fucking title. Then we go the next season and we are balling on motherfuckers. We are pissed. And we're like, this is the year we're going to fucking do it. And then what happens? I can't do it.
Don't make me do it.
I don't want to do it.
All right, let's get out of here. Jay said he just texted. He said his internet is trash and just fell. So I apologize to everybody. We lost Jay, but you know where to find him right there. Mr. Jay Washington is on Blurs in the Hood as well. But please, Winston, tell everybody they can find you and everything you got going on there.
Yes, sir. Right there, you see me at the Swaggy Blurred. That's where you can find me on Twitter, Instagram, all the socials, Letterbox, Twitch, my YouTube channel, all that good stuff. I'm here Mondays with John and Jay. 2 p.m. Pacific, Tuesdays and Thursdays, 2 p.m. Pacific for Blurs in the Hood. My Patreon, I have some exciting news about the Patreon. As a matter of fact, as soon as we get off, I keep forgetting to just upload my new schedule and stuff, but I have some super, super exciting news. I do a writing seminar with the $5 and up patrons once a month. And we just decided we're going to meet every Saturday for at least an hour. Well, I just got some news about somebody that's going to come in and actually kind of help us out, which would be super fucking awesome. So definitely check that out. But SEN Live, obviously I'm on there. The manager swag for the movie trivia showdown, obviously that's coming up soon. The awards are on Friday. And if you haven't checked it out, I recently did a pod. It came out on Christmas, but the podcast Rotten Tomatoes Was Wrong. I was a guest on there. We talked about the Grinch, the Jim Carrey Grinch, and beyond that, there's I got some other stuff I'm going to be doing with them soon, which I'm excited about too. So keep your eyes out for that too.
There you go. Much love there. Much love there. Josh Mabry says, real quick, Kurt and his brother-in-law Damian Lee out here making it a family affair. All they need is Seth to come over to complete the Curry Holy Trinity. That's for sure. That's a certain possibility on the Warriors there. There you go. All right. Well, thanks so much to Winston A. Marshall. Thanks so much to Jay Washington. You can follow me at The Rocha Says on Twitter and on Instagram. Subscribe to the channel down below as well. Please, got all kinds of content happening here on the Outlaw Nation channel. Would love for you to come aboard with that. My Patreon as well is right above my head. All the Patreon shows coming back this month that we had started a couple of months ago. Those are all coming back now, freeing up my schedule a little bit more. There'll be an announcement coming soon about a particular show that we will be ending here on the Outlaw Nation channel, but it's about time. But we've got plans for a couple more stuff coming down the road, a couple more shows rather coming down the road here on the channel as well, and branding it all out here in 2021 for some more stuff where I don't host, but other people come on and put their shows on the YouTube channel. So those are the things that I'm kicking around and looking at as well. So keep tabs on it, subscribe to it down below, and give it all kinds of love. And just like Winston, I was on the Rotten Tomatoes Wrong as well. It was the New Year's Eve episode. We talked about this, The Greatest Showman, you sons of bitches. We talked about that on there. So it was a lot of fun. So, all right. Thanks, everybody. Thanks for all your StreamLabs and SuperChats. StreamLabs SuperChats, not SmallBot. I appreciate it all. I appreciate it. And then come back and join us next week for another live episode of Game Time. We'll be talking about the playoffs again and seeing who's going to be heading towards those conference championship games to be in contention for the Super Bowl. All right. Take care of yourselves. Wear your mask. Practice social distancing. Be safe. And we'll talk to you soon. Peace.